Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Today we are going to discuss chapter number 2, complete explanation of chapter number 2 IGCSE O levels business studies. So the name of the chapter is classification of businesses. Let's start. First of all, we can see that in this chapter the first thing we want to know is stages of economic activity, that what are different stages of economic activity. The first stage is primary stage, second stage is secondary stage, and third stage is tertiary stage. In these different stages economic activity is being done. So first of all we can see that in primary in industry primary stage the activity is being done, that a person is cutting the tree in the forest. Okay, he is a woodcutter and he is cutting the wood in the forest. Second is secondary sector or secondary stage, where furniture maker is making the furniture. Now we can see the point to be noted here is that tree which the woodcutter cut in the forest is now here with the furniture maker for the process, for converting it into chair, table or any furniture. After that, in the third picture we can see that is about the tertiary stage, and in this we can easily see that there is a retailer. He is keeping that particular furniture in his shop to sell. Okay, so shortly, primary is linked with the extracting of natural resource, secondary is processing, and tertiary is giving the service. First of all, primary in detail is this stage involves the earth's natural resources. Activities in the primary sector of industry include farming, fishing, forestry, and the extraction of natural materials such as oil and copper ore. So it is very clear to us that in primary sector it is linked with only the extraction of natural resource. That natural resource can be farming, that can be fishing, that can be forestry, and extraction of natural materials such as oil and copper. Simple. Now secondary sector. Secondary sector, this stage involves taking the materials and resources provided by the primary sector and converting them into manufactured or processed goods. Activities in the secondary sector of industry include building and construction, aircraft and car manufacturing, computer assembly, bread making. So all of these examples are linked with giving the like producing the products, like they are processing it. Okay, process is there. So simply we can say in secondary sector whatever we extracted in primary sector, we will process that particular raw material in order to consume. Like we are the customers, we will consume that. In tertiary sector, we know that we studied in the first slide that was about giving the services. Here we can see this stage involves providing services to both consumers and other businesses. Activities in the tertiary sector of industry include transport, banking, retail, insurance, hotels, and hairdressing. So wherever you get some services, intangible, in services are intangible, so there is no physical product. So you are getting the service, you are paying for that. In response, you are not getting anything in physical. You are going to the hairdresser, he is cutting your hairs, receiving the money so that he gave you the service. Okay, so that is called the tertiary sector. Next part of this chapter is deindustrialization. In the UK and other developed economies, there has been a decline in the importance of manufacturing industry or the secondary industry since the 1970s. So since 1970s, we can see in UK or the developed economies, we can see there is a great decline in manufacturing the products. They are now focusing on giving the services. The tertiary sector in the UK now employs well over 75% of all workers. Now 75% of the workers are from tertiary sector in UK, like they are linked with the service sector. Many workers who lost jobs as factories closed have found it difficult to obtain work in the service industry. The decline in the manufacturing or secondary sector of industry is called deindustrialization. So deindustrialization is basically when manufacturing businesses are declining in your country or in any country. When it's declining, it means it's creating deindustrialization. Okay. Next part is mixed economies. Mixed economies, nearly every country in the world has a mixed economy with private sector and public sector. Now, basically we should talk about two sectors of economy. First is private sector and second is public sector. So whenever these both are being used, if you are using only one, it is separately private or public. But when you are using both, it's mixed economies. And many countries, like every country nearly, using the mixed economy. Private sector businesses not owned by the government. They are owned by the private individuals. These businesses will make their own decisions about what to produce, how it should be produced, and what price should be charged for it. Most businesses in the private sector will aim to make a profit. Private organization or private sector, they are only focusing on making the profit. Okay. While public sector organizations, they are government or state owned, like government is running these kind of businesses. They are state owned and controlled businesses, owned and controlled businesses and organizations. The government or other public sector authorities makes decisions about what to produce and how much to charge consumers. Like what they will produce and what price they will set for that, government will decide that. Some goods and services are provided free of charge to the consumer, as we have seen national hospitals, national schools, railways, these kind of all national which are under the control of government, national departments or national services, they are somehow free or they are charging very small amount of money, such as state health and education. Also hospitals are also included in this. So in public sector, mostly the government is thinking about to facilitate the general public. After that, we have which business activities are usually in the public sector. In public sector, what are the business activities? What are the departments? You can say number one is health department is under the control of public limited companies or public sector. Then public sector, not public limited companies. Education, defense. Education is they are trying to provide, it is because they try to provide education facilities to all of the people. Defense forces, public transport, water supply, electricity supply, all of these business activities are under the control of public sector. Mixed economies, recent changes. In recent years, many governments have changed the balance between the private and the public sector in their economies. They have done this by selling some public sector businesses owned and controlled by government to private sector businesses. This is called privatization. So whenever the government is selling their departments or selling their businesses to the private industry, you can easily assume that they now want to make profit, or they now want them to be controlled properly, or they now want them to grow more. Why have governments done this? It is often claimed that private sector businesses are more efficient than public sector businesses. This might be because their aim or their main objective is profit, and therefore cost must be controlled. Also, private sector owners might invest more capital in the business than the government can afford. Competition between private sector businesses can help to improve product quality. So all of these reasons are there, that product quality will increase, they can invest more capital. That's why the public sector organizations, they feel that they should try to make these businesses private. Now, this is all about chapter number 2, classification of businesses. If you have any question, you can comment on the video. And if you are new to the channel, please subscribe our channel. If you have already subscribed, then you have to wait for the upcoming videos. It is a very good opportunity for all you, that you can enjoy free videos, free lessons for IGCSE preparation 2023 May June, and you don't need to pay anything for this. Also, if you like the videos, share it into the different groups, share it with your friends and family, and stay blessed. Thank you very much. See you in the next video. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.